we're going to go ahead and get into the topics for this week. A lot has happened in our time since we last recorded. And it's good to pick up with kind of the topic that is most likely to get me or Shannon in trouble, which is Israel versus Palestine. Right.
First of all, I wish I could even. I still don't even know. Like, I've been like listening to other podcasts and reading about this topic, and I'm still not informed enough to even give an opinion. So, but we can talk about it.
Yeah. So pretty much, I I don't want to give my opinion either because, like you, I acknowledge that I'm very ignorant on Israel versus Palestine. So what I really want to talk about is kind of the bad conversations around Israel and Palestine. Now Shannon put in our show notes that apparently Israel and Hamas reached a ceasefire.
Yes,
It happened today. So a truce seems to be in the works, and so hopefully it'll be the end of the bombs and the bloodshed. It seems based on the body count that the Palestinians kind of got the worst end of the stick here, which is not surprising. You know, Israel has the that dome thing, and then also they have America as their ally, and so they get the best weapons. They get military support, which I resent the fact that my taxpayer dollars go to shit like this, and I don't really have any control over it. But I guess what I want to ask you, Shannon, is what were your thoughts on the Israel-Palestine beef before the ceasefire? I know you said that even you were trying to learn about what was going on, but you were still confused, as was I. But did you have first of all, did you say anything publicly about it? Like, did you tweet or do a Facebook post or?
No, just because I feel like I wasn't. If anything, I might have. No, I didn't even share anything, just because I feel like I didn't know enough about what was going on for me to even give an informed opinion about either side or even like share anything about it. I'm like, let me not. I'm not going to share it just because other people are sharing it when I don't really understand it.
Yeah. So same thing on my side as well. The only thing I did do was I recorded a statement on my personal podcast about how you don't have to have an opinion on Israel and Palestine if you are ignorant about what's going on over there, between these two countries. In fact, it would behoove you to not say anything at all. But we live in this time now where people feel obligated to comment on things to show that you care about people. But what a lot of people are doing is they're releasing statements that they're going to probably be retracting depending on how things shake out. Getting called either anti-Semitic or Islamophobic, depending on what side of the aisle you are on this issue. And my thing is this: they're doing something arrogant, but I'm smarter than most of y'all, right? Most of you watching, most of you listening. I'm pretty confident that I'm more intelligent than a good chunk of you, right? Now Shannon is smarter than I am.
Jabai is back.
So Shannon's smarter than even I am. So if me and Shannon don't know what's going on, I know for a fact that most of you out there releasing statements have no idea about the origins of the Israel versus Palestinian conflict.
I'm not agreeing with what he's saying. He's just saying it. I'm just listening.
You don't think most people releasing statements have no idea what they're talking about?
No. That, yes, for sure. But the whole, you're smarter than everyone and I'm smarter than everyone.
Time out. I didn't say everyone.
Okay, listeners. Yes, most of, that's what I meant when I said
that's not even debatable. It's not even debatable. Yeah. I'm smarter than a good chunk of you guys, and Shannon's smarter than me. And so if me and Shannon are wise enough to know, I'm not going to really comment too deeply on this because I don't know anything. Y'all should take kind of a page out of our notebook. You don't have to comment on everything in detail. Just release some generic statement and say, you know what? Damn, my heart breaks for the violence going on between Israel and Palestine. I pray for a ceasefire so that no one has to, go through this level of suffering. Bam. You don't take a stance. You don't say, oh, this person is at fault or that person is at fault. You're right there in the middle. That's what you should do. But people are trying to make statements either framing this as Israel is oppressing Palestine. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, or saying that, the Palestinians, and Hamas, they are trying to, they don't believe Israel has a right to exist. And so if you are anti-Israel, you are innately anti-Jewish. Now, that point right there, I hate. I can't stand it. And I will verbalize that because there's a lot of anti-Semitism in the world, but there's also, I'm gonna say it, there's also a lot of, how should I phrase this? A lot of Jews, they hide behind the label of anti-Semitism to deflect from any criticism about Israel.
Okay.
And so if I'm critical of the Israel, government, it is viewed as me being anti-Semitic. And so what it does is it kind of always keeps people from speaking positively about Palestine. Now, once again, I have no idea, about who is more at fault, who is more responsible. I don't know the level of detail to give, confident commentary on that. But my point is, though, some people seem to be afraid to give comments. There's people that, if you don't talk because you're ignorant, that's one thing. If you don't talk because you're afraid, because of, you might get hit with a label, that's another problem we have to deal with. And there are a bunch of people that are afraid of getting labeled as anti-Semitic, so they don't want to, say things. Just look at what they call, AOC or, anyone who's critical of Israel. They always call them anti-Semitic. Do I think AOC is anti-Semitic? No. It's a ridiculous charge to say that AOC is anti-Semitic. She don't hate Jews. No, but people who are less courageous than she is, because of that label, Shannon, they won't say anything. Yeah. And that, I think, is problematic. And we do have to find a way to have honest dialogues without people throwing these insults out at people in labels.
I agree.
It's childish.
I agree.
So I'm glad it's a ceasefire. Hopefully they'll be able to achieve some peace. Probably not, though.
Well, yeah, that article that I put in here said that I forgot who they were interviewing, but they said they're not confident that it'll last long, just because they've been getting into it like on and off for years. So
decades.
Yeah, there's an underlying problem here.
The problem is the land. That part of the conversation I know about. Israel wants the land. The Palestinians want the land. Both believe that it is their land, holy land. So you have like a mix of religion mixed with geopolitics, and it makes the entire situation kind of very, very sticky and dicey. Add on top of that Israel is kind of a very popular destination, especially post the Holocaust, for a lot of Jews when they were escaping persecution. I don't know why America is so pro-Israel. I'm sure there's a logistical reason behind it. I just don't know about it. But one statement I will say, Shannon, that I said on my personal podcast, I don't know the situation. I'm not going to give my opinion on kind of the specifics, but I do not care about the lives of Jews in Israel any more or less than I care about the lives of Palestinians.
Okay. When you first started talking, I was like, where is he going with this? But yes, I understand.
And I do think everyone doesn't feel the same way. Some of the comments from certain people, especially politicians, and look, this is like the one issue that there's not a clear left-right breakdown, because all Joe Biden came out and said is Israel has the right to defend themselves. He didn't say anything about. He said that he hopes to see a ceasefire, but originally he sounded just like Donald Trump.
Yeah, he did.
Right, and so I do think that Americans, generally speaking, care. They don't give a fuck about Palestinians. Like, caring about Palestinians is a new thing. I feel like it's not like progressives do, but Democrats are not a part of that. Democrats are on like the pro-Israel train. Conservatives are on the pro-Israel train as well. You didn't really hear too many people until recently speaking in support of the Palestinians. Now, things get complicated because of Hamas, and depending on who you are, Hamas is a terrorist organization.
But of course, the Democrats and the Republicans are going to be on the side of the of the Israelis because they're our ally. So I wouldn't even expect them to say anything to condemn Israel, really. So I'm not really surprised by that. You shouldn't look to the politics for your not you, the audience. Don't look to politicians for whose side you should be on, because
and for me, even the phrasing like whose side I'm on is kind of iffy because I'm not on anyone's side necessarily. I'm just hoping that you know, look, for me it just feels weird that one of these groups has the backing of the greatest military in the world, and the other people, they're kind of backed by a quote unquote terrorist group, depending on who you are. Some people probably view Hamas as terrorist organization. Other people view them as defenders of the Palestinians, right? It probably depends on, what information you're getting, what story you're being told. But it feels icky for me that my tax dollars are going to support the country that has the superior technology. They have the dome technology with the missiles. I didn't sign up for that. Like for my taxes to go support this stuff. And it's once again a reminder when we talk about voting and politics and these things that yes, there's differences between Republicans and Democrats, but in a lot of ways they're two sides of the exact same coin. Yep. So hopefully they'll be able to figure this out. Like I said, I doubt it. I don't think there's ever going to be peace between those two nations until one of them gets rid of the other ones, unfortunately. So yeah.